Okay, everybody, we are back. XAR on Twitch and YouTube, where we are continuing Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane. Apparently, just before I went on the air, I was typing in Tyrion, and instead of Tyrion Cuthbert, it wanted me to go with Tyrion Lannister. Like, no. Welcome back to you, Neff.
Yes, well, it's good to be here and, you know, watching legal work that doesn't make my brain hurt as much.
We also have Shinigami Liz back with us. Hello, Liz.
Hello, hello.
Bree is back with us tonight. Hi, Bree.
Hello.
And we have Karam. Hi, Karam.
Hello, everyone.
Okay, so let us try to catch up here because Bree wasn't with us last night. We're gonna go over here. So our defendant is this guy, Wallace Nightgrave, a 16-year-old student in the school who has been accused of murdering this professor who everybody loathes, Catherine Bellwether. So we are defending this guy. We've spoken to a number of people. We've spoken to one of Wallace's friends, Eris Illmatter, who looks kind of interesting. Theodore Redmond is the headmaster of the school. And then you have these twins in the kitchen who kind of look like Sarah in a way. Valentina Iannis and Valerie Iannis. And then we also spoke to the janitor. We learned about our defendant's spells. So this guy is into necromancy. And please remind us, Liz, what that is.
That is spells that pertain to dealing with death or reanimating dead into zombies and things like that.
Right. And as we saw in some of the evidence, that it can also do with healing, too.
Yes.
So we have these spells that came in from his compendium. We saw this one in the first chapter. Everybody's favorite pronunciation, prestidigitation. And we also have mend wounds, which have a few specifics here. Illusory disguise. Revive. Our favorite here is necrotic blight. The allegation is that our defendant used necrotic blight to basically sap all the life out of this teacher. And we sort of came up with a hypothesis with Tyrion that he might have been healing the teacher when he saw that the teacher was injured, maybe with revive or mend wounds or something like that. Of course, then I see this spell, which I think is the craziest of them all, which is called Animate Corpse. Would you want to use that, Neff? Animate Corpse?
Might need that after Anime North, to be quite honest on myself.
It reanimates the target using life energy. The minion follows the caster's orders. Its duration is 8 hours, and then it falls dead again.
I don't think he wouldn't fall dead again, though.
I'm sorry?
I don't think he wants to fall dead.
Right, exactly.
Again.
So we have, every time we come up with clues, they come up in this part. So we have arcane constructs. So these are kind of like the armies we saw Professor McGonagall call in Hogwarts in one of the Harry Potter films. Arcane constructs are basically meant to be human replacements, and they were devised by the professor who was murdered and help with menial tasks and whatnot. We had a foul classroom smell. Which we found in the classroom where this person was murdered. The headmaster performed an alchemy experiment incorrectly, resulting chemical reaction produced a rancid and harmless vapor that still lingers in the room. We have a map of the place. So Imperial Library, headmaster's office. The kitchen is on the way to the lecture hall. And lecture hall 2B, interestingly located next to a storage closet, is where the murder took place. The autopsy of Catherine Bellwether died at 2:01. No signs of cuts or bruising. Death was not caused by poison or disease. Body shows traces of necromancy and illusion magic. And that's another thing we can see at the scenes. Similar to how we can see blood traces in Ace Attorney. If we ask Celeste to use a spell to show traces of magic in the room, they will pop up in the same way as Luminol does in the Ace Attorney games. The body was discovered in Lecture Hall 2B by Valentina and Valerie Ianis, so the twin girls who run the kitchen. They are being hyperactive during questioning. Headmaster gave testimony, activated the Academy's lockdown system in response to receiving a call from security about the murder. This is a detailed analysis of how the Academy lockdown system works. It's a magical barrier that isolates and protects each room in the building until it's deactivated when, they get the all clear from the police. This is about Catherine Bellwether's reputation. Everybody hated her. Had a history of bullying students from the common folk and mistreating the Academy staff. She used her position to curry favor with the noble houses, which, as we recall, have a higher standing among the people who are active in this universe, if you will. The statement by the janitor: 30 minutes before the Ianis twins found the body, Bellwether walked past Jan in the West Wing hallway. He was in her path. She shoved him out of the way. After that, she knocked over a vase and shattered it. Even though Jan didn't say anything to her, she yelled at him to be quiet. This is before she went into Lecture Hall 2B and was murdered. Supposedly, Bellwether told the headmaster she was planning to fire all the Academy staff and replace them with these people, arcane constructs. The plan was overheard by Jan Hughes, the custodian, a few weeks ago. We have Wallace's spell compendium. There is a pool of blood where Catherine Bellwether's body was. This is strange because she would not have been wounded by necrotic blight, because necrotic blight is a spell that, as we said, zaps the life out of somebody, literally. And the last thing we have, Valentina's magic trace. Valentina, one of the people we saw in the kitchen, has a magical trace of necromancy on her. So someone cast a necromancy spell on her within the last 48 hours. And she's been a little bit secretive and not being, forth-telling with things that have happened. So that's something we're keeping in mind. And now we've started the first trial day. And here's Orem White, the prosecutor. So he's being asked about the circumstances here regarding the murder. So now we're going to go ahead and proceed from this point. So Orem White says, it started when the City Watch got a call from the Imperial Academy. Someone was attacked and the whole building was put on lockdown. We set up a perimeter around the area and waited for the lockdown system to deactivate. So going back to what we explained in the clues. When we finally got into the building, the prosecutor personally inspected the body and detected traces of necromancy on it. There were no cuts or bruises on the body either. The entire body was clean. Excuse me? When I just said there was a pool of blood where Catherine Bellwether's body was. So I think we can dispense with the pleasantries and just present that clue. With those two pieces of evidence, we conclude that it could only be the necromancer kid that did it. The Inquisition's testimony is just as you expected. You've already found and identified the holes in Steelwind's case. All you have to do is find that hole in the commander's testimony. Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination. Like I said, I think I know where this is going to go. Does everybody agree?
Indeed.
Yep. I'm going to save on slot number 1. And we're going to go on. We're going to go on. We're going to go on. Right here, there are no cuts or bruises on the body. The entire body was clean. So we're going to present this. Commander White, it appears you've neglected to mention one key detail of the crime scene. Yeah, and what's that? During your testimony, you said that the entire body was clean. I will admit that there weren't any wounds on the body. However, the body was certainly not clean. And Arya Steelwind, the prosecutor, just sits there. At the scene of the crime, there was a large pool of blood located where the body was. This blood came from the victim's body, and it was definitely not clean like the commander testified. I'm sorry, Mr. Cuthbert, but I failed to see the significance of this. I'd like to remind the court of the prosecution's case against my client. They are accusing him of murdering the victim using necrotic blight, a spell which would not have physically wounded the victim. So why was there any blood at all? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. The fact still stands. There were no wounds on the body, nor were there any reports of poison or disease on the autopsy. There are clearly magical elements in this case. But Catherine Bellwether was bleeding profusely at some point. How else would there be a bloodstain on the body? Do you have an explanation for that, Miss Steelwind? No, I'll admit that the prosecution doesn't have an explanation for that. And while I do find the circumstances questionable, all other evidence clearly points to the defendant. Which spell would leave a trace of necromancy? If the victim wasn't killed with necromancy, why was there a trace of it on the body? I'm glad you asked. I'd like to present the spell that could have left a trace of necromancy on the body. Let's save our game. Which spell would leave a trace of necromancy? So let's go to the spells. Would it be Prestidigitation? Would it be Mend Wounds? Aha! Would it be Mend Wounds? It's in the same school of necromancy. Let's check the others. Illusory Disguise is an illusion. Revive is a necromancy. Animate Corpse would obviously not be it. Neither would be Necrotic Blight. So it would be either, I think, Mend Wounds or Revive. Liz, what would be your guess?
I'd say probably Mend Wounds.
Mend Wounds.
Yeah.
Heals the wounds of the target. Wounds on the target are magically healed without leaving any scars or bruises. Spell can't restore missing limbs, nor can it revive someone who has already died. Revive. It does not heal wounds sustained, so I believe you are correct with Mend Wounds. Mend Wounds? Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that a healing spell? That's correct, Your Honor. Spells from the School of Necromancy can control the forces of death and life. Mend Wounds is in fact a necromancy spell. Really now? I wasn't aware of this. Now I'd like the court to consider the following. What would happen if Bellwether was wounded and someone attempted to heal her using Mend Wounds? All of her wounds would disappear from her body. I see. Uh-oh. Do you honestly think that I'm incompetent, Mr. Cuthbert? Hello. Frankly, I'm a little insulted. What? The Inquisition is well aware of what happens when a mage attempts to save a victim using Mend Wounds. The healers that arrived at the scene already confirmed that the victim was long dead. None of them attempted to heal her. Well, what if someone tried to heal her and didn't report it? Please, none of the healers will have anything to gain by doing so. In fact, as a necromancer, the defendant could have easily carried out the described scenario. He could have cast Mend Wounds on the victim after murdering her to confound the investigation. At the end of the day, the burden of proof is on you, but if you could just find out who healed the body, this case is yours. And whoever this healer is, Valentina definitely knows her. Your Honor, I will admit that I don't have any evidence to support my theory. However, I do believe that we can bring it to light. There may have been two people that witnessed someone cast magic on the body. Valentina and Valerie Iannis, the sisters who discovered the body. This is nonsense. We've already questioned those two witnesses extensively. If they had witnessed something like that, it would have come up in their testimony. If that's true, then you have nothing to lose by hearing their testimonies. Very well, if you're so confident, let's hear the witness's testimony. Seems the prosecution has no objections. However, if this line of questioning leads nowhere, I will see no reason to further prolong this trial. Do you understand, Mr. Cuthbert? Of course, Your Honor. Okay, yeah, so you see this person who reminds me of our mascot Sarah is a little bit of a nervous wreck in this game. And through the eye of Horus, you can see her thoughts. Oh crap, it's that guy from before. Is he the necromancer's lawyer? She just got on the stand and she's already stressed out. This could work in your favor. Huh. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court. My name? Witness, there's no need to be so nervous. We merely want to hear about what you saw on the day of the murder. Right, it's just that guy over there. You mean Mr. Cuthbert? Did this man harass you, witness? Uh-oh. Wait a minute. Yeah. He, like, super harassed me. How shameful. I would expect a member of our justice system to behave more professionally. Celeste is snickering. Oh, shut up. Taking the words right out of my mouth. Anyways, please state your name and occupation for the court, Miss Ionis. Just calm down. He can't prove anything. My name is Valentina Ionis. I'm a member of the kitchen staff of the Wyvern Guard Imperial Academy. As I recall, you were one of the witnesses who discovered the body. Apparently, the defense finds your involvement suspect. Fear. Rest assured, Miss Ionis, in this courtroom you will be protected from Mr. Cuthbert's harassment. Ugh. Now please testify to the court on what happened that day. Yeah. Witness testimony. I was walking with my sister in the West Wing when we noticed something in a nearby classroom. We looked over to see what it was. That's when we saw Miss Bellwether bleeding on the ground. My sister tried her best to help her, but the professor had already lost a lot of blood. While my sister did that, I used an emergency communication device to call for help. But it was too late. By the time her bleeding stopped, she'd already lost too much blood. If your theory is true, then that means she just lied in her testimony. She's definitely holding something back. She definitely saw more than she's letting on. You just need to prove that somehow. Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination. I will save, as we normally do in Ace Attorney games, or Ace Attorney-like games. Here we go. I was walking with my sister in the West Wing when we noticed something in a nearby classroom. I can't see anything to present at the moment, so I think we're just going to press. Do you agree, Neff?
Agreed.
Where were you two coming from? We came from the kitchen. We were taking a break after the lunch rush. The cafeteria is on the west side of the academy. It's believable that they'd be on that side of the building. What did you see in the classroom, Miss Ionis? We looked over to see what it was. That's when we saw Miss Bellwether bleeding on the ground. Did you notice anything else strange in the lecture hall? Well, there was that terrible smell. It was awful. I almost couldn't see because of how much I was tearing up. Other than that, I was mostly focused on the professor. It makes sense. It would be hard to notice anything else. My sister tried her best to help her, but the professor had already lost a lot of blood. So she does mention a lot of blood here. She tried to help her? Miss Ionis, how exactly did your sister try to help Miss Bellwether? What? I slipped up. Ooh. Oh, my sister used first aid to try to stop the bleeding. I see. Could you please add that detail to your testimony? Yeah, sure. She used first aid and applied pressure to her wound to stop the bleeding. Your sister knows how to use a first aid kit? Yeah, it was covered in our training when we first started working. With all the nobles around, I guess the headmaster wanted to make sure we were prepared. While my sister did that, I used an emergency communication device to call for help. A device? it's an artificery device that allows for long-range communication. Some of those devices are placed around the school for use during an emergency. I see. So who did you contact? I wasn't sure, honestly. I could hear a lot of people talking on the other end. That particular device broadcast to the headmaster's office and the City Watch barracks. Imagine that's why the headmaster was able to activate the lockdown so quickly. I see. But it was too late. By the time her bleeding stopped, she already lost too much blood. Press again. I see. That must have been a difficult experience for both of you. It's especially hard on my sister. I think she blames herself for not being able to save her. That seems to be a genuine reaction. We didn't like Professor Bellwether, but we still didn't want her to die. She seemed sincere when she said that. That's what I said. And you don't see any dissonant thoughts through the eye either. Honestly, her testimony makes a lot of sense. It's hard to figure out which parts she might be lying about. There has to be a contradiction here somewhere. Your theory is that Valentina saw someone use mend wounds on Bellwether. You should focus on the statements that describe how they both interacted with her. Let's save again. Okay. So, I was walking with my sister in the west when we noticed something in a nearby classroom. We looked over to see what it was. We saw Miss Bellwether bleeding on the ground. My sister tried her best to help her, but the professor had already lost a lot of blood. She used first aid and applied pressure to her wound to stop the bleeding. While my sister did that, I used an emergency communication device to call for help. Liz, did I hear a buzz in your direction on this statement?
No.
I heard somebody do buzz.
That was me.
Oh, that was you.
Karam.
Okay. I'm sorry, Karam. What is your thought? Is it on this statement?
I believe so.
Okay. We have something that contradicts this statement?
Open that stuff you have in there.
Okay.
It was... what was it?
Let's take a look. Map. Foul smell, arcane constructs. Who discovered the body? That doesn't answer the question. Autopsy.
There.
Body shows no signs of cuts or bruising. The alchemist report has verified that death was not caused by poison or disease. Body shows traces of necromancy and illusion magic. Cause of death is not apparent, but very likely caused by necromancy magic. So... I guess we could present this because, well, let me see. According to the, oh no. Hang on, go back. According to the autopsy, doesn't mention anything about blood. Could there be anything else?
Yeah, it shows no signs
Unless
of
there's
cuts.
another autopsy report.
Wait, Neff?
Shows
It
no
was the
signs of
heart.
no signs of cuts or bruising. So why would you be applying pressure on a wound that doesn't exist?
Ah. Thank you. Thank you for adding reason to my blab.
Objection!
Witness, what is the meaning of this? What? Why are you looking at me like that? Maybe I can elaborate, Miss Ionis. You weren't present in the gallery either, were you? No, I was waiting in the lobby. Lady Steelwind told me to wait there. Well, I suppose I should consider myself lucky. You see, Miss Ionis, one key element of the case is that the body didn't have any wounds on it. Yeah, so? So please explain to the court, Miss Ionis, how did Valerie apply first aid when there shouldn't have been any wounds on the body? Oh no, I screwed up. And now it's the Tyrion Cuthbert version of Cornered. The song Cornered from the Ace Attorney show. But I saw that wound on her. What happened? There's clearly something amiss here, but I'm afraid I don't fully understand the implications of this. Are you accusing the witness of committing perjury, Mr. Cuthbert? When someone lies, they stay as close to the truth as possible while changing minute details. In her thoughts, Valentina said that she was sure she saw a wound on Bellwether. She also mentioned that Valerie was the one that tried to save the professor. If she didn't try to save Bellwether with first aid, could she have used magic instead? Her sister could be the mage that you're looking for. Ooh. The witness was lying, Your Honor, but not about everything. Valerie Ioannis did try to save the victim's life by addressing her wounds, but she didn't use first aid. She used magic. No, he found us out. Ooh.
Objection!
Uh-oh. I'm sorry, Mr. Cuthbert, but your theory is completely flawed. How so, Miss Steelwind? Well, it's quite simple. We've already verified that neither of the sisters are mages. What? Wait, how can you be so sure? During the investigation, we have both the Ioannis sisters attuned to a spell compendium. Standard procedure for the Inquisition when interviewing witnesses. Then that means that's correct. Neither of the Ioannis sisters could attune to a compendium. Ha! That's right, the Inquisition checked us both. Happiness and fear. Neither of us are mages. Phew, that was close. Oh. Damn it, were you wrong about Valerie being a mage then? No, that can't be right. No, he found us out. Her thoughts said he found us out. That means you were on the right track. Valerie has to be the mage you're looking for. Celeste, is it possible for a mage to hold a spell compendium and avoid attuning to it? No, it just needs to be on their person. When I was arrested, the Inquisition also made me attune to one of their spell compendiums. They were really careful to make sure that I did the attunement correctly. There's no way a mage could avoid attuning to a compendium with them watching you. Right, Commander White may be negligent sometimes, but even he isn't that careless. Now, if you're done, I do believe you've exhausted all your options. Wait, I'm still not done cross-examining this witness. What could you possibly hope to glean from her testimony? Valentina should be stressed out enough to see more of her thoughts, but you can't exactly say that you're planning to read her mind. There's one key element of her testimony that the court is overlooking. I have a right as an attorney to complete my cross-examination. Your Honor, the defense is clearly trying to buy time. I might be compelled to agree with you. However, I'll also admit that some elements of the witness's testimony are quite peculiar. I will allow the defense to perform one more cross-examination. That was close, but know that this is your last chance, Mr. Cuthbert. If you produce nothing substantial, I will pass my verdict. Of course, Your Honor. All right, it's all or nothing. If you can't find anything by reading her mind, this whole case is finished. Witness, please give your testimony once more. Damn it, how long does he plan to keep me up here? Okay. Like I said, my sister and I saw Miss Bellwether bleeding on the ground. We rushed over to her. I was definitely surprised when I saw her like that. Now that you mention it, I don't know if I saw any wounds on her, but I definitely saw blood. I can't go back on that now. I just need to play dumb. My sister tried to save her, but she didn't use any magic. Valerie, you're too kind-hearted for your own good. I can't speak. Neither of us is a mage. Both of us held that book the knights gave us. I was caught off guard when they asked us. They almost found us out. The commander was watching us the whole time. He can confirm it. It's a good thing that we're twins, or else that trick wouldn't have worked. Trick? What trick? What are we going to do? They have pretty hard proof that Valerie isn't a mage. Valerie is the mage we're looking for. I'm sure of it. I'm just not sure why they felt the need to lie to the Inquisition. And more importantly, how did they trick the Inquisition? Let's save. Dun, da, 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 da. Okay. I was definitely surprised when I saw her like that. That matches the details of her previous testimony. You have no reason to doubt this. I can't go back. Okay, I don't saw any wounds, but I definitely saw blood. Can't go back on that now, just need to play dumb. It sounds like you're just backtracking on your previous testimony. I'm not. I just assumed she was wounded because of all the blood. How was I supposed to know that someone closed her wounds? Her thoughts imply that she's lying, but her logic is sound. You'll need to look at her other statements and the thoughts that accompany them. My sister tried to save her. She didn't use any magic. Valerie, you tuned kind-hearted for your own good. If Valerie wasn't the one who closed her wounds, how did she try to help her? I don't know. She might have been looking for an open wound to apply first aid to, but if we assume that you're telling the truth, there wouldn't be any wounds to find. My client would have already closed them to confound the investigation. I'm telling you, I don't know. It's hard to work with her pleading ignorance of what happened. Maybe you should try looking at the thoughts of her other statements. Neither of us is a mage. I was caught off guard when they asked us. They almost found us out. They almost found them out. Can I assume that this book was an unattuned spell compendium? Yes, the Inquisition has a myriad of them. It's standard procedure to have the witnesses attuned to them. But doesn't the kingdom require that mages register? Why don't you just cross-reference those records with the witnesses' names? For whatever reason, many mages among the common folk dislike the concept of registering. As a result, many of them choose to hide their powers illegally. The commander was watching us the whole time. It's a good thing that we're twins, or else that trick wouldn't have worked. It's a good thing that they're twins? Did you pull some kind of trick to deceive the Inquisition while attuning, Miss Ionis? Of course not. Oh, she's scared. We know that lying to Inquisition would get us in trouble. Why would either of us take a risk like that? Living as an unregistered mage is a serious crime. If Valerie was a mage, then you would have been charged with fraud right then and there. Yeah, but we already proved that neither of us are mages. The eye seems to differ. Think through this. This isn't like a normal cross-examination. Nearly all of her thoughts would be suspicious and contrary to her testimony. What you need to do is find the thought that gives you a thread to pull on. In this case, you need to find the thought that implies how the twins tricked the commander. Find the thought that holds the clue and interpret it to proceed. Well, if we go by that, that would be the final statement that says that, mentioning the trick. So I'm going to save here. Okay. So let's try interpreting this and see what happens. Miss Ionis, your thoughts betray you. What? You found the thought. They must have done something, but what? It must have happened when Commander White was interrogating them. Orm was the one who collected their statements. Do you notice anything off about the behavior? From what he said, they had a few quirks, but nothing too suspicious. Quirks. He told me they were running and spinning around him during questioning. What does that mean? I have no idea. Perhaps they were still on edge after finding their co-worker murdered. Ooh, I have an idea.
Do you now? What do you think the idea was?
Yes.
Okay, well, I was going to ask one of you guys, but I'll tell you. If they were spinning all around, then maybe Valentina at some point was portraying or pretending to be her sister and vice versa. In other words, they were spinning around. If they were physically spinning around, maybe it was too much for the Inquisition to keep track of? Does that make any sense?
Ping pong.
Yep.
Yeah. You did a switcheroo.
Switcheroo, right?
Old game.
Okay. So, well, let's continue here. Running and spinning. Well, there you go. Her thoughts also said it's a good thing that we're twins. How did the twins trick the Inquisition? This means their so-called trick wouldn't have worked if they weren't twins. Okay. Wallace, Bellwether, Orm, Valentina. Oh, I think I see it. Valentina switched places with Valerie. Valerie's the name of the other twin, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Does that look good?
Yep.
I think so. Of course, they switched places. Valentina attuned to the first spell compendium, then she pretended to be Valerie to attune to the second one. Commander White couldn't tell the difference between them. Miss Ionis, there's something I want to confirm. During the investigation, both you and Valerie attuned to a spell compendium. Am I correct? Yeah, that knight watched us do it. And how did he have you do this? Did you both attune to those compendiums at the same time? Or did you attune one after another? What? No way, does he know what we did? I fail to see how that makes any difference, Mr. Cuthbert. Yes, I agree. The spell compendiums will work regardless of what order they went in. You may not be aware of this, Your Honor, but Valentina and Valerie Ionis are identical twins, which means that their physical appearances are nearly identical to each other. If Commander White didn't have them attune at the same time, what would stop the twins from switching places with each other? You've been found out.
Objection!
Oh,
This is clearly nothing but baseless conjecture. Orm wouldn't fail at such a basic task. Really, Prosecutor Steelwind, do you find it hard to believe that Commander White would fail at a task like this?
uh-oh.
Wait a minute, this is crazy! We didn't trick the Inquisition! My sister and I are not mages! Then prove it, Miss Ionis. Bring in your system, we'll have you attuned to 2 spell compendiums at the same time. No, wait! Uh-oh. Bring down the hammer. Order in the court. It's clear that we won't get anywhere unless we test the defense's theory. Bailiff, escort Valerie Ionis to the stand and bring 2 unattuned spell compendiums. Dun dun dun! They've both had their hands on those compendiums for the last 10 minutes. There's no way they can fake it in front of this many people. All right, it's the moment of truth. You can only hope that your theory is correct. No, did he seriously? What is it, Prosecutor Steelwind? What do you see? Uh-oh.
Looks like she's gonna have a heart attack.
What I see is Commander White seeking new employment in the near future. It appears that the defense was correct. Valentina Ionis isn't a mage, but Valerie Ionis is. What's more, Valerie Ionis' compendium contains the Mend Wounds spell. Oh, she's a necromancy person. Which makes the defense's theory entirely plausible. Please, just allow me to explain. This is Valerie now. We should allow you to explain what exactly. You're an unregistered mage, and you and your sister have made fools out of all of us with your perjury. How would you know what it's like, Lady Steelwind? What? Did you think we didn't notice your name? You're not like us. You don't have to hide. Whatever, this whole situation has gotten out of hand. I didn't think hiding it would cause so much trouble, and I won't let someone go to prison because of me, even if he is a necromancer. Please let me testify about what I saw. I'll tell you what really happened that day. Very well, but understand that there will be repercussions for your actions, witness. Yes, I know. My sister and I were walking in the hallway from the kitchen to the foyer. Then I suddenly spotted the professor lying in a pool of blood in a nearby classroom. Valentina used a communication device to call for help while I tried to save her. I saw that she was bleeding, so I cast Mend Wounds on her to close her wounds. But there weren't any wounds, right? No cuts. But it was too late. I closed a hole in her stomach, but she was already dead. There was a hole in her stomach? Your Honor, as you can clearly see from the witness's testimony, the trace of necromancy was left by the witness, not my client. What's more, clear that there was a physical wound on the body. Okay. I see. Well, his words trail off. He clearly doesn't want to pass a verdict when there's no clear culprit. But he has no choice. The case against Wallace is predicated on Bellwether being killed by necromancy. With Valerie's testimony, the prosecution doesn't have a shred of evidence implicating him. Very well, the court sees no reason to prolong this trial. With these new developments, the court has no choice but to find Wallace Nightgrave not... Uh-oh. Somebody's going to object. Lady Steelwind?
Objection!
Thank you. I believe the court is ignoring one key detail of the witness's testimony. And what would that be, Miss Steelwind? Let's re-examine the witness's testimony. Valentina used a communication device to call for help while I tried to save her. I saw that she was bleeding, so I cast mend wounds on her to close her wounds, but it was too late. Closed a hole in her stomach, but she was already dead. The communication device that Valentina Iannis used logs the time of day during each use. From this log, we know that Valentina used this device at 3:04 p.m. Oh, that's about an hour after the murder, isn't it? This is an hour after the time of death. I must have an eye of Horus tonight, because I've predicted a few of these things now. Where are you going with this? Mr. Cuthbert, there was a witness who saw the victim before the body was found. Jan Hughes, the custodian. He, along with another witness, spotted Bellwether walking in the hallways before the body was found. I was cleaning the halls. Bellwether knocked over a vase. There were shards and dirt everywhere. It was probably 20 to 30 minutes before the twins found the body. 20 to 30 minutes before the body was found. Do you see the discrepancy, Mr. Cuthbert? Wait, that can't be right. Bellwether died more than an hour before the body was found. So how did Jan see her half an hour after her death? I wonder, Mr. Cuthbert, how could one make a dead body move and walk around? Oh, well, that's easy. You use the spell for moving a corpse. You can't mean... There was more than one piece of evidence that pointed to a necromancer committing the crime. The defendant murdered the victor and used necromancy to animate her corpse.
Except
what?
wonderful theory, except there's two problems with it.
Okay.
Number one, moving the corpse around with a hole in its stomach, as we have been told, will result in a bit of splatter.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Janitor there didn't mention no splatter.
Interesting.
So either Mr. Janitor knows more than he's telling, or that is a complete load of horse manure.
Yep.
An undead created within the Imperial Academy? How reprehensible. That's ridiculous. She had a hole in her stomach when the twins found her. John Hughes would have noticed that. Animate corpse stops the flow of blood, so she wouldn't have tracked blood anywhere. Oh, okay.
Okay.
The defendant is also proficient with illusion magic. He could have easily used an illusion spell to hide on the undead Bellwether's wounds. But another party could have easily used illusion magic to disguise themselves as the victim. If that were true, how did they move the body to the classroom? Miss Steelwind, if your theory is true, it would mean the murder occurred elsewhere. Would the Inquisition happen to know where? Regrettably, we do not. Then the prosecution's case against my client is still faulty. You can't convict my client without more evidence. I agree with Mr. Cuthbert. With these new developments, the court sees it fit to suspend the trial for the time being. We will give law enforcement time to investigate these unknowns. Court proceedings for this case will resume tomorrow morning. Court is adjourned. Hey, are you feeling okay? A body is seen moving around an hour after death. It clearly wasn't Bellwether. At the very least, she wasn't alive when this happened. So what was it? Tyrion? There's illusion magic involved. There has to be. Oh, I think he's mumbling to himself again. But which spell was it? Could it have been illusory disguise? Tyrion! Ah, what? You've been quiet since the trial ended. You were making me worried. Sorry, I was just thinking about what Steelwind said. You mean about her theory? It's a little creepy when you think about it. Do you really think someone turned the professor into an undead? I don't think so. The prosecution's case is hinged on one clear fact, that Wallace was the only high-level necromancer nearby. We have to assume that he's the only person capable of using that type of magic. But then how is she walking around? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. It's a given that walls didn't touch the body, so we can discount the use of high-level necromancy. No matter what, someone used an illusion, but aren't there spells that can create freestanding illusions, not just disguises? I honestly don't know. We need to talk to someone who knows about that type of magic. Wait, didn't Eris say that she was studying illusion magic? She might be able to tell us something like that if possible. Is that really a good idea? What do you mean? What if she's the one who created the illusion? Ooh. What? You're detecting fear from her again. Celeste, are you scared of Eris? What? No. I saw it this morning too. You always get really scared when she's around. Oh, I thought I was doing a better job of hiding it. Sorry, it's not based on anything real, but for years I've been working as a mercenary. When you do that kind of work, you build up an instinct to sense danger. You kind of have to if you want to stay alive. Sorry, I never knew. Tyrion, I fought literal monsters and barely escaped with my life, but when I'm near Eris, none of those creatures come even close. I get this feeling. It's like I'm in front of a predator that I couldn't ever hope to beat. Every instinct I have tells me to run whenever she's close by. Really, but she doesn't seem that dangerous. I know, I think maybe I'm just anxious or something. I should know better than anyone not to judge people by their appearance. Sorry, forgot I said anything. If you think we should talk to her, we should do that. You're not the one to discount Celeste's instincts. She's always been reliable, and if Eris is making her scared, that must mean something. But if Eris really is that dangerous, then that's all the more reason to talk to her. Aside from that, there was something else that the prosecutor said. Mr. Cuthbert, there was a witness who saw the victim before the body was found, Jan Hughes. He, along with another witness, spotted Bellwether in the walking in the hallways before the body was found. She said along with another witness. That means that there was another witness that saw Bellwether walking around. Right, Jan probably isn't the most reliable witness, so talking to that other person might help us figure out what happened. Oh, that was that silver-haired noble person from the end of the last stream, right? Maybe? Do you think Steelwind will tell us who that witness was? At this point, we won't lose anything by trying. In any case, it looks like you have your work cut out for you, so where should you start first? Would you like to save your progress? Sure. Let's save. Oh, we're gonna start at the cemetery. This is a good place to stop. Like, why are they suddenly at a cemetery?
I think someone made a grave mistake.
Oh.
Ew.
Oh my goodness. Oh boy. All right, Liz. Well, you have some good knacks when it comes to these games. What are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling that they moved the body in one of those animated armors.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's a thought I had.
Oh yeah. I'm putting two and two together. That's a good thought. That is a good thought. Somebody could animate it and throw them in there, right?
Yep.
Bree, I know you haven't, you weren't with us yesterday, but what do you think about this, where this is going?
This was an interesting part to just walk back into the story.
Yeah. But no, the Eris is an interesting character. We could see it from her looks. I mean, I'll pull up her face one more time. Where is she? No, this is her right here, Eris.
Oh.
She's got, just from her face, she's got like a dark aura about her, you know? And she's into illusion too, so... Karen, what are your thoughts?
It is turning out pretty interesting.
Well, you led us down the right path, sort of, with one of those choices before. Neff?
Well, as I said, I mean, this one's where there are some twists where I'm going, wait a minute, and there are other twists where I'm going, okay, that makes logical sense, especially with the twins trying to, play fool around, and I'm going, okay, that's how they did it. Yep.
Is Eris a student, or is she?
She's a student. She's a student. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's in the, I think, in the same camaraderie as our defendant, I think. So. So yes, it'd be very interesting to see what she says, and we will find out the next time we play, which will hopefully be tomorrow. So once again, as we said earlier, we have, oh yes, the Caldith. Let me put up her picture again. The creepy girl from Ringu. I could see that, yeah. Anyway, yes, tomorrow we're gonna try to stream. Like I said, we'll probably, if anything, start as early as 7 o'clock Eastern. But I'm gonna go around and see what everybody's availability is and see how we're gonna progress tomorrow. I would like to try to do as much as we can. Like I said before, Easter. If for some reason we can't, then we will have to pick this up next week, Tuesday, I think. So please follow us as per usual. We might post an update here in just a moment on our Discord, which you can get via our Linktree at linktree.com/anime radio. And there are all the other ways you can reach us there. Once again, mascot content, new mascot content is coming up soon, so please look forward to that. In the meantime, for all of our necromancers, our attorneys in the room, Neff, Liz, Bree, and Karam, I'm JR. Thanks for watching us play Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane. And remember,
keep on looking out for the Experiment on Twitch streams, and don't forget, archive versions of our podcast are available at xarpodcast.net. That's xarpodcast.net or your favorite podcasting platform. Good night, everybody. Pleasant screams.
Oh boy, we're gonna have to. We'll have to do more of those puns next time we end up on the courtyard or graveyard. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.